What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Jack Ramsays, Danny Marang, Brandon Sprague. Blazers lose their sixth in a row in spectacular fashion and continue setting an NBA record for futility. They had the NBA record going on strong and chugging. Most combined points lost. Your margin of defeat over 5 games. I haven't confirmed it, but I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say another, did it get to 38 in the end? Another 30-plus point blowout.
It is the worst point differential 6-game streak in NBA history.
So 5-game streak, now 6-game streak.
It's quite literally the worst basketball you've ever seen played in the league.
So listen, folks, if you don't believe the Trailblazers can get good at something very quickly, you are out of your ever-loving mind. Again, welcome in. We appreciate you. We love you. Like, rate, review, subscribe. If any of you are actually here and alive, we appreciate you. You are dedicated. You are dedicated. We are blowing through all of the content that we have. There is not a lot to talk about. We're not going to talk a lot about this game. We're going to talk about the general feel of things, where things are. We may shift to draft coverage here in like the next week as we get into the March Madness and NCAA tournament. Brandon and I have talked about it, but I think that's where we're going to go.
I started getting into it this morning, and I talked a lot about it. We're in a live watch party today. Yep. I don't know what our plans are. We're kind of doing this like literally live together, producing on the fly. I do think a majority of people see what this is, and they're okay with it. But guys, we're not doing 18 more of these. Let's start to look past the 18.
Yeah, no, we're looking through the black hole. The light is bending. We can't go in. We can't go through the event horizon. Like that's not something we can do.
We're ready to argue about who we should or should not draft if they get a top 3 pick. I'll add to this though, Danny. There actually is something. You sick bastard might be able to find more than me. I found one thing very interesting about tonight.
What'd you find?
Chauncey Billups in the postgame calling out the team for not winning.
No.
100%.
Who had it? Hyken?
It might have been Hyken. I just saw. Give me a second here. I saw it and I had to do a double take reading it because I couldn't believe that he actually got into the post game and chewed this team out through the media. He says we expect more. I expect. Oh, here it is. Oh, never mind. Just move on. It's a fake quote. I got ball sacked.
Oh, you got ball sacked. Okay.
I got ball sacked via somebody not actually on ball sack. That hurts.
Okay. I was going to say, I was like, ladies and gentlemen, because it's funny that you mentioned it because I brought it up earlier today. Because Ime Udoka had a quote about like going after guys publicly in the media, and he had everybody telling him like that's the wrong way to go about it. And I mentioned Chauncey going after guys early in the season when the expectations were high, and all of a sudden when the team was, torn down to the studs, that went away. And I'm very interested to see what that looks like
Chauncey,
next season.
I completely just fell for a fake quote, so apologies, and I'm an idiot.
Welcome to live shows.
This has got to be hard for Chauncey, though, right? Like, no
he
matter
didn't
how
sign
you
on
feel
for this.
about him,
He signed on to coach and take on a team that had a lot of talent. He did not sign up to be Mike Brown.
No, he sure didn't. And
sorry, not Mike Brown, Brett Brown.
Yeah, Brett Brown, right? The process.
Yeah.
At least Brett Brown got a decent chunk and got to see the playoff teams through before they axed him. But I don't know, man. I'm kind of at a loss for words because it's one thing. I knew they would lose these games. I knew they were going in on the tank. Danny, we are quite literally watching the worst basketball team of all time right now.
It's
in
up
this
there.
Moment.
It's definitely the team that they put on the floor tonight. We discussed it a little bit in the watch party. talent-wise, was probably the worst. Not probably. Was the worst team the Trailblazers have ever put on the floor.
Easily.
And that's just what it is.
They had the worst point differential in 6 games. I think it's okay to say they are the worst team maybe in league history.
Josh Hart somebody had a quote in here. Josh Hart had the 4th worst plus minus since they've started tracking it as a minus. Elpoy. Wow. Josh Hart minus 51, 4th worst plus minus since the stat was recorded. Poor Josh Hart. He's having to go through this. Andrew Cruz, so you know the funny thing about the entire tank job, making Josh Hart go through the misery. Because Josh Hart has been through misery. He knows nothing but misery. He was on those really shitty Laker teams. Yep. He was on those really shitty Pelicans teams. Now he's on the worst Blazers team of all time.
At least he got to play at Villanova.
So listen, man. When it's all said and done, I think they're going to take care of him, and I hope they take care of him. And like this is kind of the breaks. It's got to be frustrating at some point to deal with this. It is not easy, even if you understand the goal and the costs and everything that's associated with it. But you know what time it is, Brandon?
Oh, I know what time it is. I want you to
It is
run
time to play Tankathon. Let's go to it, ladies and gentlemen. Big money, big money, big money, no whammies.
And
number 2 pick. Hey. We're number 2. We're number 2. And I do this
in the draft
as a wonderful way. Number 1, let me go ahead and throw the dumpster fire up there. There it is. We'll have the dumpster fire going. Let's drop this real quick. All right. What would you, Brandon Sprague, do with the number 2 overall pick if Jabari Smith is off the board?
Ooh, Daniel. This is here's okay. Let me kind of first answer this question by asking a question.
Okay, go.
If you are in that position, you kind of have to take Holmgren or Banchero, don't you?
Yes. Which one?
And if I'm picking between those two, oh my God, can I trade back? Can I get out of this?
Sure, you could.
I can't believe I don't even want the number 2 pick in the draft because of this pressure. I've been super against the Chet stuff today.
That's why it was perfect that it hit. Like it landed exactly for what you were doing today.
I'm going Banchero.
You're gonna take him.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll the dice a little bit with that one. There's no doubt.
Okay.
I'm just gonna hope that him being around Damian Lillard changes a very young player who has incredible ability and can maybe help mold him a little bit. That's kind of my 30,000 foot view perspective on those 2 guys. Who would you go with? Chet?
Yeah. I don't like he has real tools. Like he has real tools. And that's not saying that Paulo doesn't, but when you're talking about attitude, he has attitude. Like he gives a damn. Like when you talk about Paulo, you worry about his motor coming and going, and looking at Joe Cronin and what they've done and what they've tried to do. They want guys with an attitude. They want guys with grit, and
they want dogs.
Listen, man, did you watch the North Carolina Duke game?
I did. They rolled over.
Did you see a lot of dog in Banchero?
No, I didn't. But let me I'll push back a little bit.
And I don't using a single game, so I'm just saying in general.
No, I know. Because I could use the championship game in the WCC for Chet. Like he got in foul trouble, and they won that game despite him not doing much.
Yeah.
I think the thing with Paulo is, I think you're making a valid point. Duke, that game specifically, man, what has this season been? It's not been Paulo. It's not been AJ Griffin. It's been
Coach K.
It's the Coach K circus, right? Every game is Coach K's last game somewhere. They've had to endure that all year. And then they go to camera and they say, hey guys, it's the Mount Rushmore coach. It's his last home game against your hated rival. And Obama and Jerry Seinfeld are going to be in the crowd.
And Adam Silver. Don't forget Adam Silver.
Yeah.
Your new boss.
You better not lose Coach K's last game. Like, I can't fathom what that kind of pressure feels like to come out of that stadium. Now you can say, well, Sprague, that's a tell sign about him. Fine. Let's see what he does in the tournament. What if he's a dog in the tournament?
Again, John Morant, dog his entire time at Murray State.
No doubt.
Absolute dog. And when NCAA tournament time, when he dragged Murray State by their freaking toes, averaging 16 and 10, the only player in NCAA history to average a double-digit points, double-digit assists, double-double. Never, ever been done in NCAA history until him. I mean, that kind of lets you know what kind of dude he was. I'm very interested to see, like, I never put a ton of stock in NCAA tournament runs. Shout out Zach Collins. Because of that reason, because I want to look at the rest of the resume. But somebody, Schlub42 here is watching on Twitch. We appreciate you, man. Does Chet have a bigger flaw than being skinny? Like, that's the thing. Like, you look at Banchero and you look at some other guys in that top 5, top 6, whatever you want to say. The one thing that people knock Chet for, the thing that people knock Chet for is that he's skinny. Not that he's talented, not that he's skilled, not that he's really good. Like, you have to really pick apart his game to find flaws. And I find that to be an interesting thing. Like, you're trying to find something there that makes you like stop and not want to take him. Like, you're trying to justify not taking him. And that's where I kind of like, I kind of toss my, like, it is going to be risky to take him because you do need to have a certain structure around him. But he does give you what you want. But the problem is you're running into the Zach Collins conundrum where he's a 5 who needs to play the 4 until he's ready to play the 5. And will he ever be able to play the 5 full time and put on the weight like Giannis did? And I just don't know if that's a thing that he can do.
And you're going to be playing him next to Yusuf Nurkic. Like,
But here's the difference between him and Zach Collins. Number one, he is a much more fluid athlete at the 4 than Zach ever was. Because Zach was a 5 who was masquerading as a 4.
Right.
It's inverse with Chet. He's a 5 he's a 4 masquerading as a 5 because he just doesn't have the size. But Zach coming out of college, you absolutely thought he could be a shooter. He may be. Like, it was one of those things like you're like, oh, that's a tool set he might be able to develop. With Chet, he is a shooter.
Mm-hmm.
It's there. Like, the mechanics are there. He's already hitting trailing threes. He's a guy who can take a rebound and grab and go. Like, all those things that everybody's like, oh, maybe Zach can do that one day. Chet is already doing it at a significantly higher level. And that's where I in my own head, I have to fight back against he's a white 7-footer from Gonzaga. And it's like, yeah, but he's not that white 7-footer from Gonzaga. So I argue with myself over this all the time.
But here's the crazy thing. He could be that next white center from Gonzaga. We go, well, he's the white center from Gonzaga. I think that's kind of the scary thing. Fair or not for Chet. And Chet's going to have his opportunity to make guys like me all across the country eat crow.
Yeah. It's either that or it's going to be womp, 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 womp.
I thought he was a great high school prospect. I saw a couple of his games via streams. I was excited that he chose Gonzaga because we get to see some more exposure out here. And I think I've seen now 7 games. I like some of his stuff, but there's just this part of me that I cannot get out of my head of, is all of that translating? I see him get blocks on guys and I'm like, boy, that's a good block. And then I'm like, that's a 6'8" white guy who's never sniffing the NBA. If that's 6'8" freak athlete dude in the league, he's yamming that. And it doesn't matter if you try to block that shot. So those are the only things, the process is going to play itself out and we'll see where Joe ultimately leans if they're in this position. But
TM to the Philadelphia 76ers.
TM to the 76ers for that. But we must trust the process in the situation. And if they think Chet ends up being the better fit, adios mio. God bless us.
So Andy Marchand, and this is the comparison I talk about. I've talked about with a few other people. There were similar concerns about Mobley before last season's draft. Here's the difference between Evan Mobley and Chet Holmgren. Evan Mobley was can't miss. Yeah. Chet, there are questions. Evan Mobley could do everything.
If you watched Pac-12 basketball last year, and I'll push back on that comment. Maybe I missed some of the criticisms. I felt like most people knew that Evan was going to be the
Evan
dude.
Should have been the number 1 overall pick.
He should have been the number 1 overall pick. But I watched him enough in the Pac-12 to go, oh yeah. Now, Did I see him becoming the defensive player of the year in his rookie season?
He's going to get votes. He's probably going to get 5th and 6th place, or I think it's 5 is what it goes to now. But he's going to get 5th place votes. There's without a doubt in my mind, he's going to get them.
Oh, I think he's
within 2 years, he's going to end up winning one of these.
Damn right. Damn right. Wait till he gets an offensive game.
And he's already starting to flash it. That's the terrifying thing. And all good says Chet can handle the ball is physically a different type of player than Zach. Yes, he is. And that's why I don't like drawing all those lines of 7-foot white guy from Gonzaga, because Chet is a significantly higher ceiling too. And I think, and the more we talk about this, the more I'm like actually getting energized talking about the draft and switching this kind of deal, which also I should say, I've mentioned this in the watch parties. I don't know if I've mentioned it really much here. We are going to broadcast watch parties for March Madness. So, if you guys want to take part in those, all you got to do is become a member, and you guys can get into any of them. I'm not gonna like charge extra for that or anything like that. I have to have a filter to get guys in and out because we have limits on the room and all that kind of stuff. I will take a look once we have the seating and the schedule. It's going to be a quick turnaround because that schedule comes out, and then we kind of got to go of what games I will have on in there, so that we focus. So we'll make sure we highlight Gonzaga. We will highlight Auburn. Like, we want to make sure, just in case somebody gets bounced early, that we watch that we get those games. So those guys, you can actually see those guys in the NCAA tournament. We can kind of talk about them as prospects live as we kind of pivot that way. So if you can watch during the day, kind of a deal, just let me know.
Well, and for people that maybe can't catch the live, I will throw out there too. I'm trying to go to one of these sessions because Gonzaga is going to be in Portland. They're going to be the number 1 overall seed.
They're going to have the West region.
They're going to have their pick. They will choose Portland because it's an easy drive for their fans. And I'm trying to go to one of those. I want to see him in person, see if there's anything maybe I just don't quite see in person versus watching it on TV. I'd imagine, though, Danny, they're going to get out of that region.
Yeah.
I'd be floored if the number 1 overall seed couldn't get out of Portland. So the good news is, if we have to miss a Chet game because I'm going to it, or you do it anyway, it's fine. But I think we're going to see him in the Sweet 16 at least, at the bare minimum.
I would hope so, not just because of him, but because of Timmy and Nemhard. Like, they've got viable NBA players up and down their roster, which is just a terrifying thing. Honestly, I think that they'll probably make the Elite Eight, Final Four. I don't know. Like, I think Elite Eight is kind of like where they should end up at least. I will tell you right now, barring any changes to anything, any injuries, I am picking Arizona.
Oh.
I am picking Arizona to win this.
Oh, man.
Regardless of how they play.
Yeah.
There's just too many NBA players on that team.
I will pray for you. I like their coach. Tommy Lloyd's pretty good. He's a Gonzaga guy, longtime Gonzaga guy. I like their team too. I don't trust Pac-12 teams.
I don't either. That's the thing I like. But Mathurin, Koloko, Freer, like there's just too many dudes on that team where you're just like, they're 10 deep. No college team is 10 deep. Like, where there's like, where you worry about teams going on cold runs, that team doesn't. It's weird. It's really weird. But
if they're going to do it, it's going to be this year, because this year's about as wide open as we've seen in some time.
It is. This is what's really great about basketball in general right now, both college basketball and NBA basketball.
Yep.
There's no clear-cut favorite. And I think it is the best thing for the sport in general, of fans everywhere, but maybe not for growing the game, because you don't have like a super team, the way that was. I think most of that is broadcasting partners failing to, put the Memphis Grizzlies on TV 46 times as opposed to the Los Angeles Lakers 47 times.
Yeah, no doubt.
Or perfect example tonight, flexing out of a Portland-Utah game.
Portland's down 51 points.
Why was it on national TV? Flex out of the bleeping game. You knew there's how many other games on tonight. Flex out. You're a broadcast partner. Figure it out. It just, I don't know. That's my little bit of rant.
I said this today. I think the NFL has had an interesting couple days. The NFL is it's a league of cowardice, and I don't think there's any clear indication of that than the way that they discipline their players, mixed with when the gambling stuff was coming around, they were hiding in a corner waiting for somebody else to speak up and be the big boy. Adam Silver stepped up and said, "Let's embrace this."
Yeah.
And once he did, Roger Goodell and the NFL owners came trotting through, and they said, "Well, we're the number one sport. You're going to gamble on us." And they weren't wrong. It's our favorite sport. But what they're doing now, I don't know if you've noticed this. What does the NBA have over the NFL the last like 10 years. Off the court storylines are just as interesting to people, if not more interesting than the product itself.
Well, that's what happens when you have players that don't have helmets on.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it's player mobility, and the impact of one player on a team is so much bigger than the NFL. But the NFL has the product on the field, and now they've copied the NBA. They've officially taken over the offseason, where now you're waking up, and instead of debating or just talking about Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic and Giannis, we're now going, oh my God, this quarterback scrubbed his Instagram. What does this mean?
Dun, 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 dun.
So the NFL has copied the NBA. This is what the NBA needs, I think, to help themselves get back to a little more relevance. The league has fallen down quite some time. I don't think that's a secret. And right now, Danny,
having things wide open is good.
We might be looking at 11 fan bases thinking, if things
this might be our year.
This could be our year.
Which, I mean, let's rattle through the list, and then we'll get out of here on this, and we'll kind of pivot towards the NCAA tournament as it's coming up here in a couple days. Miami.
Yes. I think they're going to win it. Yes.
Denver.
Yep.
Boston.
Yes.
Milwaukee.
Yes.
Brooklyn.
Yes.
Dallas.
Yes.
Philly.
Yes.
Memphis.
The Golden State.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just.
I'm at 10. That's 10 right there. The Clippers, if they get quiet, would you put them there?
No, but they could definitely ruin somebody's day.
True.
That's what I mean. They could just upset the apple cart.
But that's 10. We named.
And hell, Utah.
Oh, Utah. Let's be fair to Utah. They're having a good season. Utah. So now we have named
12 teams.
11 teams. This league never has that. This league at most has like two.
Three.
And most
two from one conference, one from another. And then you're like, who's gonna figure it out on this side of the bracket? And then that's it.
Right. And I think there's a part of that that's hurt the league a little bit. And I think it's great. I know the ratings for Suns Bucks wasn't fantastic. There's nothing we can do about that, but I think you can get a lot of matchups that would be really entertaining from a sports, just strictly basketball reasons.
Yes, and I think it's great, and I think it bodes well for the Blazers kind of going forward because, as we saw from the other day, even with the TV deal and the structure and everybody complaining and all the frustration, they have the 8th best ratings in the league. Now, guess what happens when you throw a top 3 pick onto it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, again, we'll get out of here in just a second, but we will start pivoting towards draft coverage. That is happening now. Like Brandon and I have kind of danced around. Like, when are we going to do it? We were talking about the pregame tonight, or doing a pregame tonight, and I felt like absolute crap. And I'm like, dude, I need a nap. I need to go chill. I need to go ice my hip. I am not going to go sit through a pregame for a game like this. I just will not do it. And instead, if we continue, we may not do pregames the rest of the season. But if we do, it will be like a focus on a particular thing, a news event, or a draft look at something, or we have a guest.
Yeah.
That is those are the only ways we are doing pre-games kind of going forward here, of which we will also, I have got, Brandon and I have talked about this, and Ben Golliver will be on the show here coming up. BG told me he wanted to come on after the break and come say what's up to everybody. So we will have BG on here. We'll have got a couple. Holdall is coming on. So when they get home,
I keep hearing that.
We should get him.
That.
And Richmond might come on. I'm just saying.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, come on. We support the Richmond pod.
Yeah.
I've done some stuff with Richmond. You've done some stuff with Richmond. Let's just link up. You know what I mean?
Just a matter of like making it work. So
it's time to dock.
I think what
Mike,
we'll do
it's time to dock.
is we will probably do something around the draft. That way we don't have to talk about the product on the floor. Evan James says, Jason Quick. Listen, we can get Quicker on. I just because Quick appears on Mike's pod, I tend to just like let that be his thing and not even ask. I'll tell you guys flat out. Like, that's just kind of how I operate. That's Richmond's guy. So, but I can reach out to Jason and ask him to come on. But
they were Beat Boys together.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like that's fine. But yeah, we'll have some fun. We'll bring some people on. We'll bring some guests in. Bring a little bit of spice to the show, right? But other than that, we thank you. We appreciate you. We love you. Obviously, we do have what is this? This is a back-to-back now, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm trying to remember. I thought this was a back-to-back. That's weird. My calendar just flashed back to November of 2020. That was weird.
I forget.
That sounds awful. I don't want to go back to that.
I got the schedule right here. It looks like tomorrow's games are.
I love doing this live.
God damn it.
No, Saturday. It's Wizards.
Saturday Wizards.
That's right. Oh, today's Wednesday. God.
I know, it's a weird week.
I am so twisted up. So Saturday, Michael Holton. Listen, if I can get Holt Dog on, I'd love to. Holton's fun. So we got the Wizards in 3 days, and Porzingis is already out for that game. So I wonder if there's. I thought it was hilarious. Like, he will not play again in 4 days. I'm like, okay. But
by the way, quickly shout out the Pelicans. No BI for at least 10 days.
Yeah,
they're suck. They're awful.
Listen, you take all the time you want, BI. Take care of yourself, King. That's what I'm going with here. Tomorrow is Thursday though, so we will do a live show.
We might have to do it a little early. I have my daughter's last game is a Thursday this week. Why?
Oh, okay.
I have no idea.
Okay,
why.
That's okay. We will we'll do a live show and record that, and then kind of go from there. We'll figure out the time. We'll either go early or super duper late, just to piss you off.
We'll text about it. We'll get it figured out. We got a live show tomorrow.
This is how we always do our programming and our producing. It's the least professional, effective thing. Right? You want to do it then? Yeah, let's do it then.
This is literally how we're doing it. This is like, oh yeah, early. Oh, okay, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. And then we end up going, is that going to work for you? No, it's not going to work, man.
Is that going to work for you? No, I can't do that time.
Well, hey, appreciate y'all. We love you. Thank you. Again, help us grow the show. Like, rate, review, subscribe. Help us get over to 3,000. We appreciate all of you riding and dying with us this season.
Oh, man. We know it's brutal
There's a lot of dying right now. But we're trying to make this as much fun as we can. We're trying to just kind of, hang out, shoot the shit, and just make it as cool as we can. So, again, we love you. We appreciate you. Share us with your friends. Share us with your family. Help us grow. Word of mouth is like the number one thing outside of the almighty algorithm that helps shows grow. So, again, and I've said a few people count out my St. Louis hat. Yes, this is my solidarity with my Redbirds as baseball is still not here. Also, it's got a big giant L on the forehead for what Portland's doing right now.
I think that logo is going to start disappearing like Marty McFly's family because the season's just drifting away.
Yeah, it's just very dumb. But all right, we'll get out of here on that. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you all so very much. We'll do the live show tomorrow. I'll throw a little question out there for everybody. It'll probably be draft related. You know what? In fact, I'm going to say that now. I will throw out a question, a tweet out there with give me your draft questions as we pivot to the NCAA tournament.
I love that.
Again, thank you all so very much. We'll get out of here on that. Find us on social media at Jack Ramsays, at Danny Marang, at Brandon Sprague. Until tomorrow, we'll catch you guys later.